news source.
Right, we've just been listening to Kwasi Kwarteng defend his government's controversial tax plan after what was an abrupt U-turn on part of it. His speech continues, but we've had the headlines out of it. I get it, effectively, is what the Chancellor of the Exchequer, or the Finance Minister, said about that U-turn. Before that, I was discussing Vladimir Putin's escalation in the war on Ukraine with a former Russian diplomat who left his post after Russia launched its full-scale invasion. Boris Bondarev joins me now via Skype. And thank you, sir, and apologies for having to just break into this interview. It's so important, and I just want to pick up on a couple of things and get your perspective, which is crucial at this point as we try and understand, sort of get inside the mind of the Russian president. Over the weekend, Putin ally and leader of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, called on Vladimir Putin to take more drastic measures, including the use of low-yield tactical nuclear weapons. Given his recent losses on the battlefield, do you believe Vladimir Putin will actually resort to the use of these sort of nuclear tactical weapons, or worse, at this point?
I believe that he may try to do so if he feels that he is fully cornered and he has no way out. And I think if Ukraine is to continue their victorious march towards the temporarily occupied lands, then I think Mr. Putin will feel this very soon. And but for now, I don't think that the likelihood of his using the nuclear weapons for today is quite high. I don't think it is high, but it may be higher later. But it will all depend on the course of the war, and if the newly mobilized, so to speak, army is to crumble after a few serious blows from Ukrainians. And I have heard that there were a lot of people who surrendered, a lot of who just drop their guns and flee from the battlefield. So this Russian army may start to exist quite soon. And then I think there may be even maybe no one to execute these orders to use nuclear weapons if these orders will come from Putin. And I think if Russian army will be defeated by Ukrainians, then Putin may face some opposition within his own inner circle. So he may even not have sufficient time to resort to nuclear weapons. That's my hope.
That's fascinating. He used his speech on Friday to justify the war whilst calling for a ceasefire or a path to peace. Do you genuinely believe that he wants to pursue peace at this point? And should, given the position on the battlefield and Vladimir Putin's moves to illegally annex parts of Ukraine, should Ukraine and the West pursue his calls for peace at this point?
Well, I believe that by peace, Mr. Putin understands peace on his own terms. And those are like Ukrainian, well, so to speak, surrender to his terms. Because Putin will not give in his newly occupied territories. And that would mean that Ukraine lost the war. And with that, the Western countries, NATO, will be humiliated, which is another goal for Mr. Putin. And then the global political landscape on the planet will change very significantly. I don't think that it is the outcome that the Western countries should strive for.
Right.
And the only piece
so can I ask you? Can I just ask you very briefly, because of our breaking news, I am going to have to leave this, but I just need to ask you this one question. Do you believe that Vladimir Putin is vulnerable at this point?
I believe that at this point, his position in Russia is weaker than it was before, and he gets more and more weaker every day. But I don't say that we should await some like coup or something like this in the near future. I think it's not a matter of weeks, but I think it's a matter of months rather.
It's good to speak to you. We'll have you back, sir. I thank you very much indeed for, one, joining us, and two, standing by whilst we, of course, took some developing news. We thank you very much indeed.